fifth generation is the most important gaming generation of all time. You see, you have to understand, everything prior to the 32-bit era, which is your Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, really didn't have 3D graphics. They alluded to it in systems like the Sega CD, especially with the Batman game, the racing game. They have racing sequences in the Batman game. Also, the add-ons. The add-ons started to allude to the importance of 3D graphics and where gaming was going to, especially with the 32X. Now, the first time I ever saw virtual racing was on the Sega Genesis, not the 32X version. And I remember being wowed by the graphics, especially Star Fox and everything that came out for the Super Nintendo. You could tell that the gaming industry was starting to go towards 3D. Now, I remember that generation and going into games like Ocarina of Time and also Resident Evil, and then with Sega Genesis it was Virtua Fighter. Now, if you really think about it, what a lot of people don't know is Virtua Fighter was the first 3D game ever made. And so that is the predecessor to every 3D fighting game we know. And really in this generation, what I love so much about it is you could tell the game companies were trying to figure it out. As you can tell, I have this PlayStation 1 wireless game controller. But PlayStation 1 introduced dual analog stick, and that was evolutionary for its time. And we could argue and debate which controller was the best of that era. Nights into Dreams for Sega Saturn came out with its own controller specifically for the game. And Saturn, as well as Nintendo 64, had to figure out how they were going to solve for the analog situation. And in my opinion, I believe in that generation, PlayStation did it the best. But the point of what I'm saying is there was a lot of evolutionary leaps and bounds that changed gaming forever, which included the introduction of the analog stick, which including the third dimension in the XYZ plane. Also, you could tell in a lot of the earlier games that there wasn't a lot of texture. And then as the games became better, and in that fifth generation, as time went on, you could tell they started to learn how to add textures to the 3D polygons. So I really encourage modern gamers and to look back, especially on the fifth generation, because I've discussed this in this documentary right here, where in the Sega Saturn there were tons of games that never made it to the 6th gen. We're talking about your Dreamcast, your PlayStation 2. You're also talking about your Nintendo GameCube, etc. These games, although they were introduced on that particular system, never made it to the 6th generation. So there is a huge library of games that you may not have ever played if you skip the 5th gen. So really, I implore that you investigate and research the 5th generation era. And as a matter of fact, I believe the 5th generation had the most consoles ever, including the 3DO and a lot of other systems. And I'll just leave a picture right here so you can see all the various 3D consoles for that 5th gen era. 5th gen was the biggest generation ever. 5th gen was the biggest generation of all time. So they had the most consoles, they introduced new technology, and also there's a huge library of games that never made it into the 6th gen. And so I'm really making this video today to say the 5th generation may have been the most important generation of all time, because modern 3D gaming would have never became what it was without the 5th generation. So let me know in the comments section below, have you ever played 5th generation games? And what's your favorite 5th gen console? And do you know any of the obscure 5th gen consoles that most people don't know about, including the Atari Jaguar? So guys, if you enjoyed the video, please hit a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, support links are in the description below, and we'll be coming out with more videos soon. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.